everything is working. It is 1:33 on July 31st, 2026. We are 2,188 days. I believe so. I believe it's 88 days now. Wow, let's see if I'm on. Seems so. Yep. Okay. So much is going on. We have major breaking news. And so 2,188 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room, taken downstairs to the arms room in building 2479 on Fort Bliss. That's building 2479. That was a secure location, a restricted area, soundproof room, and this was a code red. This was an ordered killing by his chain of command to forcibly remove him because he's a whistleblower. In July of 2020, I mean, he was whistleblowing starting in 2019. And they took him downstairs into this restricted area to take his life. And they then stole his body off of Fort Bliss and desecrated it and took it over, meaning that our evidence is that they organ harvested and they took his body over to Mexico. They went through a system because our evidence indicates that they cashed in on him with impersonating our family, cashed in on veterans benefits, and then took him over to the border and cashed in again, like for a unidentified migrant for humanitarian aid and that, or COVID unidentified migrant. This is in 2020, so there was a lot of fraud going on, especially with this cartel led funeral home operation that was transnational funeral home operation. And these funeral home operations that are controlled by the cartel, um, all evidence indicates, and I have to be so careful how I say this because I'm very sure, but I have to be careful how I say it because of El Paso Community Foundation, and Martin Paredes made it very clear that he also came to the conclusion that it was a money laundering operation. And I've come to the conclusion, our family, our investigation, our team has come to the conclusion that the funeral homes are fronts for money laundering. And that's why you see the infiltration and corruption with the funeral home commission in Texas, um, uh, lacking the oversight of funeral homes, like the one that was just exposed, a community funeral home in Houston with human organs inside of a Home Depot bucket. And they won't tell you that this person was trans and not licensed, and also right there where the watchicle and the connections, um, where all the evidence leads, that makes these connections that you can come to a conclusion after looking at all the evidence that there needs to be a major investigation into the money laundering um, aspects of the funeral homes and also of foundations, right? Like the El Paso Community Foundation, which is up to no good, absolutely up to no good, and very connected to the El Paso cartel that is aiding and abetting in alliance with the foreign terroristic organization, the cartels that are, even have a specialized terroristic organization designation, like the Sinaloa cartel and the Juarez cartel, which includes La Linea, which is the Nova Casa Grandes connection with the area where the Mormon mafia are. And of course, the Juarez, did I say Juarez cartel, Sinaloa cartel, and the CJNG cartel? The CJNG cartel, the New Generation cartel, has been confirmed to be involved in all of this fuel um, theft, this watch call fiscal. And there has been a lot of arrests and a lot of action to turn that turn that off and hold them accountable. And they are absolutely in El Paso, and they're absolutely in alliance with Alejandra de la Vega Foster in her own home, in her own dealings. She deals with, is in alliance with, and aids and abets the CJNG. Okay. So, this is really interesting because her aiding and abetting these foreign terroristic organizations, and of course, she's in alliance with Maru Campos, who is the Sinaloa cartel proxy for El Chapo. Um, that and of course Al Diario, which is the Juarez cartel. So Alejandra de la Vega Foster, Arizpe, right? Her Alejandra de la Vega Arizpe Foster, or however they organize their names. But this is, very, very clear that she's aiding and abetting, that she is absolutely up to no good, very, very criminal, is a fuel thief, is a government manipulator, transnational operative, double agent, a facilitator. Remember, she facilitated the treasonous treaty between Mauro Campos and Greg Abbott. She also facilitated bringing in Cesar Paneche as the Attorney General for Chihuahua, Mexico, which is right there on the border. Um, who is absolutely had his mansion raided for the what you call the fuel thieving, the tapping into the Pemex pipelines and stealing fuel for his group of Carvel that he then sold in a government contract to Mauro Campos for the police department. He was the sole provider of fuel for the Chihuahua Police Department, or police force. Um, and so he's hiding out in Texas um, because of his criminal actions. And, because they don't pay taxes on any of this, too. And so that's a way of Mexico, being able to arrest them and everything. Um, And Alejandra de la Vega Foster is also the one that facilitated General John Kelly going to work for Mauro Campos for as a security advisor, which makes him a double agent, a traitor, a absolute traitor, because this is the Sinaloa cartel we're talking about. This is the CJNG cartel we're talking about. This is the Juarez cartel we're talking about. We're talking about a cartel that brings in absolute terror while exploiting the people. And this is who General John Kelly went to work for, okay, and got and for his own contracts for unaccompanied children camps that his company provided stuff for, right? So he tried to enrich himself on this, and is absolutely, in my book, he's just such a traitor. And this is, in in cahoots with Alejandro de la Vega Foster. So, and how did this all happen? What happened to the judiciary? What happened to the lawyers? What happened to the judges in El Paso? Well, that's what I'm going to talk to you about today is the crimes of Bernadette Medrano, the wife of the most corrupt judge in El Paso history, Sam Medrano, the judge that was unlawfully given the assignment of the Walmart mass shooting case. So, and I have taken, a lot of time to review all of this so that I could give you the proper information about what is going on in El Paso. Why is justice so thwarted in El Paso? And I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best and um, to give you some really good information. Um, and I'm going to do it primarily by heart. So, I'm just giving you that disclaimer. So, Bernadette Medrano, number one, is the wife of Sam Medrano. Okay. She has a criminal record, and her family ties are with the Chavez Carzoli, two families, one family that has targeted our son and our family. Okay. So this is not personal. This is personal. This is coming after our son, like the code read. That had to have support by the infiltrated cartel on Fort Bliss, the military chain of command that was compromised on the border, absolutely. And of course, in the law enforcement and judicial um, agencies and institutions there in El Paso for this to happen. For what happened to Richard, all of that had to be involved. And of course, her family was very involved in in the killing of our son. Okay, just like Connell Wenton, totally responsible for our son's death by leaking his identity to the cartel. And of course, Medrano and the tampering of justice in El Paso, um, and more and more. Um, it's kind of like Fauci being responsible for Richard's death. And you'll say, what are you talking about? Well, because of the restrictions, the COVID restrictions that were going on at the time that allowed these covert operations like a code red, and it made the cover up so much more easier. And shielding people's faces with mask, unnecessary mask. And I have expressed from the very beginning our stance when it came to those restrictions, what BS we thought they were. Um, and now we have been vindicated, right? We've been vindicated that, real science looks at the sun as a purifying force. Real science looks at the cleanliness of water, very, very clean water for good health. Um, Real science looks at clean air, breathing clean air, not, snotty masks, for good health. Real science looks at the societal impacts of family and loved ones as support for good health. That's what real science does. Real science also looks at the faith of people and the sharing in worship for the good health mentally that affects the physical person That's real science. And when you take away their ability to worship, when you take away the ability to be close to loved ones, when you take away the sun, when you take away good, clean water, when you take away the air and give them snotty masks, um, then you are not abiding by science, right? For good health. No, you're creating, and then, of course, bringing in, um, you know, young girls and sex cult parties and all the things that are not healthy because of STDs and uh, the pain of the shallowness of all of that. Um, that really hurts the psyche, and the hurt psyche hurts the physical health and well-being of people. So, yeah, you could see that they were wanting to make us all sick. That's what it is. Sick mentally and sick physically. And so, yes, of course, there is absolutely blame and responsibility that goes to those stupid restrictions that were not based on science at all. And of course, the responsibility for law enforcement and for the judicial, and of course, for the chain of command. The chain of command issued the order. It was Dallas Hart that issued the order to have Richard killed. And Leilani Hart, Dallas Hart's mother, put it in writing that this was a code red ordered killing. So, that corroborated already our evidence that we have collected. So, getting back to the judicial, the crimes of Bernadette Medrano and her aiding and abetting her family. She might have even asked her family members to go after our son and to go after our family. Um, so this is personal, absolutely personal. And yet her her actions were not limited to just going after Richard and our family as being a whistleblower to the Walmart mass shooting, which we know that he was reporting before the Walmart mass shooting. And I've been reporting the last few nights that there is a huge possibility that Richard was giving a warning that uh, the Fort Bliss infiltrators were planning the Walmart mass shooting, that they were planning the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting before it even happened. So Richard is a big deal. Really, he is the whistleblower. And we know that he was also reporting the trafficking crimes of the children, um, the guns, the fuel trafficking, the drug trafficking, that it was so very bad, so bad. He said it was so bad. So, and they've manipulated, um, the truth of all of that. But it's all come out and still coming out, because it is a mountain of evidence, and so it is coming out now, and that evidence includes the crimes of Bernadette Medrano, that she was the court clerk, that was in charge of the assignment wheel. And the assignment wheel for judges has many implications, and you can even look it up. But it's not just the judges that get appointed to certain cases, but it is the careers of the judges, and not only the careers of the judges, but the careers of attorneys, because when a judge is appointed to a case, then they get to choose the attorneys. And so you're talking about the making and breaking of judges and attorneys. And so when you have control over the careers of judges and attorneys, you have a lot of power. You have a lot of power. And that's what the Medranos had, and they weaponized that power. And so here she is, and it begs to ask, who the hell gave her that power? Because her family is absolutely connected to the cartel. She absolutely has a criminal record. Her family has criminal records. Who the hell gave her the power over the assignment wheel? That's the big question that's still that needs to be answered, right? That needs to be answered because it gave her and her husband, a very corrupt individual, Judge Sam Medrano, immense power. And he was, of course, on the uh it's too late now. But the council of judges. Okay. So he's the leader in the council of judges, right? And he and he controls them because he controls the wheel. His family controls the wheel, and he controls their careers along with attorneys. He can make them or break them. And so now you understand why we have attorneys, or you have judges ruling a certain way and attorneys acting a certain way and taking certain cases and not taking certain cases and withholding important information like, who is Michael Mayella, right? Who is Michael Mayella, which I really need to play the Michael Mayella song. Let me see if I can bring that up. Yeah. Thank you for being patient because, this is 2 o'clock in the morning. I think it's almost 2 o'clock. Yeah. And, let's see if found it. Found it. Okay, here we go. I have to start it over. There we go.
Mayella are hushed. It's Patrick Cruz, yes, El Paso family. They're in the federal courthouse, literally, because his brother Brian married a Mayella. Cause Patrick's brother married a Mayella. El Paso matters, they knew, kept it hush hush. In a quid pro quo, money rush. Courthouse favors for a fake news show. They're bias, it's clear as you know. So they built a lie designed to divide, attacking Trump while the truth set aside. With a fake story, the false narrative grew, smearing Trump's name, deceiving me and you. Michael Mayella, the father, pulled Cha-chings gave courthouse favors for a fake news show, so the media lets Mayella's names lay low. Cruises had no ties, they clamored in the news, but they're in the chamber wearing courthouse shoes. And Michael Jr., the brother of the bride, interned at the DA's side. Also with the dirty FBI leaker who tattletaled while at Walmart where the security failed. What the hell? So they built a lie designed to divide, attacking Trump while the truth set aside. With the fake story, the false narrative grew, smearing Trump's name, deceiving me and you. El Paso matters, more like El Paso hush, a quid pro quo, money rush. Courthouse favors for a fake news show, they're bias, it's clear as you know. With Bob Moore whispering lies in our ear, no truth, no integrity, year after year. They let it roll, they let the falsehoods fly, bury the truth while the real stories die. They painted Cruz as a hater of Brown, a fake white supremacist just to drag Trump down. And Michael Jr., the brother of the bride, interned at the DA's side. With the scars of Montoya and Nieto, the FBI leak a tattletale. Whoa, and in Walmart where security failed, where security failed, where security failed. Justice for Richard Halliday.
Yeah, so see, can you hear me? Make sure you can hear me. Testing. See, can you hear me? Make sure you can hear me. Testing. Okay, good. Okay, so this is really important because the Walmart mass shooting, more witnesses were coming out, whistleblowers were coming out. The whistleblowing was not just coming out because of the Walmart mass shooting case itself and the multiple shooters and all the discrepancies and then the sealed case and all the hiding of it, but also the Walmart mass shooting victim funds that were exceeded $12 million and the way they distributed by, Westar Bank, El Paso Community Foundation, right? The very people that are involved in this, I believe, the whole orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting because of all the evidence with Purchase Funeral Homes, with Bill Hicks being appointed and Bill Hicks being the attorney for Purchase Funeral Homes and Purchase Funeral Homes being involved in the funeral fraud. And then they had control over the bodies. And of course, the bodies went to Mario Raskin Ortiz, the chief medical examiner, who is illegal, not even qualified to be in that position, and also connected to the cartel. So they're all connected to the cartel. They're all operating together with others, including those in the military, to orchestrate this very bloody mass shooting. To put forth a false narrative, right? To put forth a false narrative, not only to stop the audits and the investigations, slow down the investigations, the audits that Richard's whistleblowing reports triggered, but also to slow President Trump down, to interfere with the election, to put out a false narrative that would attack President Trump, to treat President Trump when he came there to pay his condolences, to treat him with disdain. Veronica Escobar absolutely treated him with disdain, would refuse to even meet with him. And here she is, part of the orchestration of the Walmart shooting itself and the fraudulent distribution of the Walmart mass shooting victims funds, over $12 million, because she's the one that brought in Mario Raskin Ortiz. She's the one that signed his paychecks. She's the one that covered all of that up. And when he was being exposed by other whistleblowers, not just us, but other whistleblowers, that she would come to bat for him and cover up and everything. And of course, get the president at the time, Biden, to appoint Bill Hicks as a DA, to of course, the lawyer for the funeral home fraud to be the DA for cover up. And this was all going on at the same time as what Bernadette Medrano was doing. Her role in all of this was to control the cases, to control what judges, and if they were allies, cartel allies on certain cases, that would pick cartel ally attorneys for certain cases. They were making and breaking judges and lawyers. And so when people would get so mad, where's the justice? Then they need to get mad at Bernadette Medrano, right? That's who you need to get mad at, because she had the power, with, of course, her husband, Sam Medrano, to control the cases and who got the cases and how they handled the cases. Because if they didn't handle them in their favor, then they, could make and break them. And so this was the control of the assignment will and the willingness to manipulate it and to tamper with it, is has so many crimes attached to it, because it's aiding and abetting terroristic organizations. It's manipulating, tampering with an election, right? It is absolutely obstruction of justice. It is also her abusing her position to violate people's rights to justice, right? So, and I'm doing this by memory, because there's so many violations. And I posted it up. I shouldn't be doing it by memory right now. I should be reading it, because I did post it up, that she was tampering with government records. She was, oh yes, leaking sensitive case information to the cartel. Okay. So she's leaking sensitive sealed cases. So, of course, the Walmart mass shooting was sealed. Our son's case sealed. And so she would give that sealed information, her office did, to her allies, and then to people that wanted justice, that information would be blocked. Just like they blocked Richard's reports. They blocked Richard's reports. And so he asked for a transfer and was denied a transfer, because he saw that the whole system was rigged, and that, Bernadette Medrano is a rigger, right? She is a justice rig. She is, her crimes are so big, y'all, because she's just rigging the whole judicial system, with her husband. They're a team. And they even went, when that was all exposed, they even said, "Oh no, we're not even living together now." But no, that's a bunch of baloney. Um, because you judge them by their fruit, right? You judge them by their fruit and what's going on. So, when you are, leaking sensitive information, you are putting victims at risk, witnesses at risk. You are making and breaking the judges and lawyers, and you're also breaching national security. Okay, so this is in many cases. So she's a really election interference, which is a federal crime. I mean, all these crimes are so big, um, because of the whole purpose of this false narrative against President Trump, and she knew it was false. Okay, because the evidence has them orchestrating the control of who was going to be the judge on this case before Judge Medrano was even appointed. He was, Joe Spencer was saying he was the judge on the case. The same with David Guadarrama on the federal case. So they were tampering hugely, hugely, and this, really put um, can you imagine if you're in the you're trying to make a living, you went through the whole schooling and getting your degree and you passed the bar and now you are a lawyer and you're having to deal with all of these cartel infiltrators in the system that are aiding and abetting terroristic organizations, and they can make and break you. They can make and break you everything that you worked for. That's how evil she is, and that's how evil Sam Medrano is, and it gets worse. It gets worse than this. Um, yeah, the her misusing her position is called official oppression, right? That she is oppressing people that are searching for justice and their rights. And she's also engaged in organized crime. Okay. So, organized crime, and that it goes with the Carzolis and what they did to Richard and the Chavez Carzoli family to our family. So, absolutely, uh, she's looking at really hefty punishments, and I think she should get the top punishment for what she's done. The lives we cannot even count. You're talking about 500,000 children being trafficked. This is what this is covering up, and this started a an illegal process that I'll be talking about tomorrow that has to do well, I already talked about it, and it is that Sam Medrano, in response to the truth getting out, and of course Jaime Esparza not being there to help him out, and the election just changing everything in 2021. Sam Medrano decided that he needed to have his own police force, right? So, and we already reported on that he created his own police force within the courthouse to control all the investigations, which means that knowing who are the witnesses, who are the lawyers, who are the judges, who are people that are trying to expose the crimes of his family and especially his wife. And of course, they're in alliance with the cartel. They're in alliance with the El Paso cartel and the Sinaloa cartel, the CJNG cartel, the Juarez cartel. So, on all of the cases that they tampered with and all the people that they hurt, and that includes taking people's lives, because we're talking about the bodies. We're talking about the Walmart mass shooting. We're talking about protecting the Mayella family, who is a family of Patrick Crucius that are absolutely part of the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting and the cover up of it. Um, and also really reveals the biasness and the political biasness of the media for covering it up for so long until we broke that story, and also, covering it up since we broke that story. Okay, you hear the Mayella story here, right? Where is it nationally? Because the Mayella Crucius story reveals the political operation against President Trump. Okay, so this is a major national story, a major tampering with election that is, right in the middle of everything. Um, a direct assault on our U.S. sovereignty, but also uh, do not be mistaken. Everything that happens there in El Paso, like this, that violates American sovereignty, U.S. sovereignty, is also violating Mexican sovereignty. Okay, because these are all connected. These all connected with Chihuahua, Mexico, and what they're doing. So, because of the trafficking, the transnational trafficking. And so last night, we were so blessed to have Dora on our live stream um, to post her open letter to the Ariano Corone, the Purchase Ariano Corone family of the Plenitude Crematorium that violated so many families' um, dignity. It's absolute sacrilege what they do. So evil, demonic. Um, and she wrote an open letter. It's in Spanish, but I translated in English. I hope I did it justice, and I posted it with the Spanish version. And we're very grateful, super grateful that we could post that because, of course, it involves our son's remains and the same people that took his life. And there's many. This is a narco crematorium, so there were bodies there in the picture. What they did, it's just you can see them still in uniform. You can see them with marks of torture. It's bad. It's so bad, and so we're very grateful that she is somebody that has so much courage to write an open letter, and we posted it, and we're very, very happy and grateful to do it. It's humbling. Um, uh, yeah. Um, yeah, we're just really, really grateful for those, especially in Mexico. We know what they're up against there. Um, in order to have the courage to do that and to stand up for all these families, that their loved ones' bodies are in the hands of the perpetrator, the Purchase Funeral Home, that really are a Mexican funeral home, and they've been given rights to operate in El Paso. And now he sits on the, Salvador Purchase Jr. sits on the Texas Funeral Home Commission, which is like, what? A cartel criminal, total criminal that's engaged also and connected with all the funeral, no, the fuel theft, because where there is this funeral fraud, there is fuel theft. I mean, the two go hand in hand. Why do they go hand in hand? Because there must be money laundering going on through the funeral homes. um, so yeah, this is huge. And if it wasn't for the likes, the very demonic likes, the terrible person that Bernadette Medrano is with her husband, Sam Medrano, the absolute worst corrupt judge in El Paso history, that is, given this great power that they did everything, even create a police force to protect their power to control the assignment wheel that could make and break um, judges and lawyers' career, total career, which that then they're breaking justice, aren't they? They're breaking righteousness. They're breaking what's good for the sake of the cartels, the terroristic organizations. So it makes them very, very bad people, very, very bad people, major, huge bad people. Um, and so uh, you say, how can a judge create a police force? Okay, because a judge is a judicial system. The judicial branch of our government cannot create a police force. That is the duty, the jurisdiction for the executive branch, right? The executive branch is who creates police forces, okay? Not the judicial branch. And so, what the hell is going on that Judge Medrano was able, through the Council of Judges, even called the Council of Judges Police Department, um, in the um, in the courthouse, that deputized bailiffs that created a police, um, to create a police force that was answerable to him, to the Council of Judges, but to him, for every investigation, right? Who's a witness? What's the evidence? What are the charges? Who are the whistleblowers? You know, and where is the evidence stored? Whatever. Um, you know, what kind of subpoenas went out? What kind of whatever. Um, you can tell that this they were controlling the investigations and the cases that would expose their power. Okay, so this was a power grab. This was a protection racket, and we will produce the receipts for those. Yeah, we produce all the receipts for those. Because this is really important for everyone to stay tuned, because this has to do with the tampering of our son's case, of our son's whistleblower reports, with judicial system not doing their job, with the law enforcement not doing their job, because of this kind of infiltration and power grab that was um, violating our justice, violating our rights. And so we're really getting to the bottom of this, to the top of this, right? Who's funding these people? What kind of protection are they getting? Why, and because they're absolutely violating, oppressing the people's rights um, to justice, and to expression, and all of that freedom, right? Freedom. So and peace, right? And accountability, and closure, and everything like that, that the justice system is supposed to give to the people. And they work for us because taxpayer money pays for them. So they work for us and they exploit us. And these people infiltrated and weaponized their power against the people. So that's why this is all so important. And we're really um, making sure that we give you the accurate information. I hope that really helped Um, the whole thing with the pilot with Mayo, that is just jaw-dropping. It's just the receipts coming out of that investigation will blow you away. It's just like this, because these are terroristic organizations. And so, what they're doing in order to infiltrate and to keep their power is, pretty jaw-dropping stuff and very demonic and very just it's just so evil. It's just such uh violating human rights every which way you turn. And so that's why we are bringing this out, because it was all of these things together that forces evil forces that uh, made the military bold enough to issue a code red after Richard had asked for transfers, after he had uh, put in whistleblower reports that were blocked, and they decided that they weren't going to give him a transfer, that they would take his life. Okay, so and to steal his body, and to cash in on it, and to desecrate it, and to cash in on it again, and to cash in on it again. We believe they cashed in on it 3 times, and this is the system of unaccountability and fraud and terror that is is responsible for what happened to our son. And so that's why this is all very personal, and you know uh, and it needs to be brought out. And I will tell you this, that we wear the red hat because the other victim in all of this is President Trump. And yes, he still has his life, um, thank God. But they absolutely, every time we dig up some more evidence, the target is President Trump. They really have targeted him. And this criminal organization and network in El Paso and in Chihuahua were absolutely deployed against President Trump. And it was very political. Okay. And it includes Beto O'Rourke and Veronica Escobar. Absolutely. Beto O'Rourke. Absolutely. And of course, this ties into the whole Jeffrey Epstein um, network as well. And that's why this this pilot from Clovis, um, and the receipts coming out of that, it's pretty jaw dropping. So I think they made a mistake because there are multiple pilots. We believe, well, our investigation is that there were multiple planes, multiple pilots, and every plane can seat like 2 pilots, right? So multiple pilots, multiple planes, and they picked this guy, um, to reveal. And well, of course, he got caught with cocaine and all that. So, yeah, it seems that it has really opened the door to see the whole operation of trafficking and the illegal Air Kings operation, and also the fuel theft operation, um, and really, uh, and all those that are included in Richard's case with um, uh, with the cartel connections. So thank you so much. Or let me make sure I get everyone's comments. Oh, thank you, Laura, so much for coming on so late. God bless you. Debbie, thank you so much. Justice for Richard Halliday. I see God moving for you, Gold Star Mama. Absolutely. God's hand has been on all of this. And just finding out who Nadal Baim was, because, he wore the mask, and, we just had the video. We didn't know his name. He paid in cash, So, and of course, the FBI wasn't helping us. They were just saying he was some guy. And the chain of command, oh, he's just some guy. And then by the grace of God, we found out his identity, and I think that they freaked out. I think they had to wear a diaper. I really do, because it was just that big of a deal. He's just that big of a deal. He really is. And when you look, when everything comes out with Richard's case, center of all the connections will be Nadal Baim. And so, and of course, they're all a big deal, right? They're all big, Paul Foster and all these, but the web, the connections with the whole web of the cartels and everything, it's really, Nadal Baim really revealed all of that. Um, 9:15 Hunting Hispanics, a documentary on the Walmart mass shooting, and it shows witnesses saying there were multiple shooters. I hope they're all alive. Yeah, they're at large, and we have an idea of who they are. Um, and there was also reports that one of those shooters was shot and was killed during the Walmart mass shooting. So, yeah, when all the truth comes out, it's going to be, um, well, we know that they tampered with and staged the crime scene, right? That Patrick Crucius Wood, Patrick Wood Crucius, um, that he came in after um, Alexander Gerhard Hoffman's body had been moved. Okay, so he had already been shot, and he had been moved, and we have that video where he's laying there right after. So it seems that they took pictures and everything after they had already moved Alexander Gerhard Hofmann, because that's what the evidence absolutely shows. And this is not AI, right? So this is clear. With all the timeline doesn't add up what they want. Our timeline is very revealing of what really happened. And of course, we have Joe Spencer saying that Patrick Crucius uh, submitted himself, turned himself in 2 times, not 1 time, 2 times. The first time they kind of shoot him away, the time wasn't right yet, and then they they let him give himself over at the intersection. So too Hispanic, So that was kind of like, who planned this out? Because you don't give a false narrative that this was about racism and that he had all this hate, right? And then he's like, "Oh yeah, hi, my Hispanic police officer, or DPS officer, which DPS is like totally corrupt. Um, "Hi, I really like you. I'm gonna give myself over to you right when I just shot people," It was just, whoever put this all together, um, uh, you know, uh, let's just say, um, uh, we were forced into really looking into it because of our son's case. But if you wanted to just look into it, anybody could find all the irregularities and the discrepancies and come to the conclusion that it was orchestrated and staged, because, of all the evidence that's out there. So, yeah, it just is not being reported by the media. The media has a lot to answer for, and they need to be brought up on charges for use weaponizing it against President Trump when they had information about the Mayellas, about Patrick Crucius, about the FBI agents that were in charge of it, one of them being an active duty soldier on Fort Bliss. So when I say an active duty soldier on Fort Bliss was involved in the Walmart mass shooting case, that is absolutely 100% and more true. Um, and so, and there's more, there's more. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for sharing all the information. And I hope you share Dora's open letter. Uh, for the victims of Plenitude Crematorium, which includes us, and then also um, how absolutely evil, what a horrible person the Medrano, the the Medrano couple, right? Bernadette and Sam Medrano are. What horrible people. I mean, absolutely, like orc, lower than the orc level. Um, I know there's 7 heavens. Are there 7 hells? Like, they're, like, way down there. They're so horrible. So, yeah, I hope you pass that on. So, thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing.